As we go into the property, we want to have a look at every single room from top to bottom to see if there's any requirement for refurbishment work. I'm only going to show you one of them, but let's go in and have a look. So this is the hallway, and we can see on the hallway, the first thing we want to do is look at all the corners of the hallway, all the tops, to see if there's any damp or if there's any work that needs to be done. You can see that there's wallpaper here, which we would typically remove depending on the type of property in the area. And to remove that, you need to strip it and then plaster the wall and then paint it. We're also looking at the radiator to make sure that there is a radiator. It's of decent size for the room, and it's also a new-ish looking radiator. You can see this is an older radiator. It's fitted quite close to the wall, and we would probably need to replace that with a newer, more energy efficient one. Once we've looked at all the walls and we've looked at the ceilings as well to make sure the smoke detectors are there and the lights are all working fine, we can then look at the flooring to see if there's any holes in the flooring or if that needs to be changed out. So we can see here, there doesn't seem to be any behind the door, all seems to be fine. And in the corners of the walls, everything seems to be in good repair. We move over in this case to the lounge, and again we're looking at the corners of the lounge to see if there is any requirement for any works, any damp, any mould or anything like that. At the moment there doesn't seem to be any in the corners, so the corners are all good, the edges are all good, the tops, the ceiling may need to be overboarded depending on what that is made up of. And then we're looking at the walls to make sure the walls are good. So wherever we're doing it, we're looking from top to bottom, starting from the top, looking all the way down to the bottom. So the walls look great. That radiator is a new radiator, you can tell because it's a bit wider, and then the floor looks good as well. So aside from a little bit of mess, which we can obviously clear up, that all looks good. We have a patio over here, and this patio door, make sure that that opens and closes. And then in terms of the kitchen, making sure that the units are modern, which they look like they are, and they're fitted. So we'll open some of these doors and cupboard doors to make sure they're all working. We also want to make sure in the kitchen that we've got more than enough sockets and switches, which it seems like we do here. And we would also run the tap to make sure the tap is working here. I believe in this cupboard we have the boiler, which is usual. So either in the kitchen or in the basement or sometimes in the bedroom. Now this is quite a old-ish boiler, but it's doing well for itself at the moment. Doesn't look like it's in a state of disrepair, so we can just keep that boiler running until it blows out. Going up the stairs, we want to make sure that the walls don't have any defects on them, and also that the stairs and the carpets don't have any defects, as well as the handrail here. In a rental property, you typically need a handrail on this wall as well, or if you've got this thing over here, then that's okay as well, but just something to hold on to. So as I walk up the stairs, I'm sort of making a note of any creaks, but actually more importantly, any parts of the stairs that are uneven. There's a window here, so we'll just open that and make sure that that opens. Yes, it does, and it closes nicely. That handle's a bit stuck, so we'll definitely have to look into fixing that. To come into one of the bedrooms then, so we go into the bedroom and make sure that the door obviously closes quite nice and flushly there. We make sure that the light is working, which it is, so that's good. And as previously described, that radiator probably needs to be changed out. I mean, it's okay for now, but for energy efficiency, you might want to be changed out for a newer radiator. In the room, it's the same as all the other rooms. We'll look at the different corners and make sure that there's nothing wrong with the property. You can't see any signs of damp or any wear and tear that we need to get resolved. And then look at the ceiling, which looks fine. Smoke alarm there, and looking at the walls as well. And then coming down to the bottom corners and making sure that there's no issues that we can see over here. So this one has a built-in bed, so obviously there's not going to be any issues there. And that's it. Obviously we'll open that window as well, make sure that that opens and closes smoothly. This door closes and opens smoothly. But other than that, that's how we view a room. Moving on to the bathroom then. Same thing again, we're looking at the corners of the top corners, make sure that there's nothing there that we need to be concerned about. That's basically where any challenges would be, they will sort of accumulate in the corners. We'll look down the walls and make sure that there's no work that we need to do on the walls, and then onto the floor, which all looks good for now. We'll flush that toilet, make sure it flushes, open this tap, make sure that there's water running, and even try out that shower to make sure that the water's running fine and that there's no leaks. Looking at this shower tray, you can see here it goes in a little bit. We may need to seal that up, because if water leaks out onto the floor, it will then get in under there, start rotting that, maybe even go down into the next level.